Today I'm starting a brand new series that I've been meaning to do for a while, but I haven't done. And it's called the ReEdit. So basically, this is a series where I go back into my archives and I edit photos that I've shot before. Obviously, it's being done with new knowledge of what I know now versus what I knew back then. So, to start this series off, I decided that I would start off with images from my old Zeiss 8514 Otis review. So, I imported a whole bunch of images, and in Capture One, I set the ones that I didn't like to red, and I set the ones that I like to green. So, I didn't like 62 of them, 3 of them I didn't really care about, and around 37 or so I actually liked. So basically I decided that I would go through and I would try to figure out ways that I could make some of these images better. So this is the result of one of my images, and basically this is the original. As you can see, there are a lot of areas around Grace over here, and I don't really care for them, but the way that you can actually make this photo better is, let me go back to that, is I cropped in much heavier, and I cut out kind of the extraneous area, and I converted this to black and white. And the reason why I converted to black and white is because the colors here are not incredibly important to me. Let me show you exactly what I mean by that. So I'm going to disable black and white. And okay, so the colors are gray, black, you have her hair color, and you have some browns. And then her skin is associated with the, I think it's the orange channel. Let's see right now. So if I go into the color editor for Capture One, yeah, she will be associated with like an orange, and she's barely associated with a yellow, but the background there, even though I know that's green, it's associated with green. So if I do this actually to change the hue of that, okay, we get kind of something a little better. And then if I do that, that green is not really associated with anything. The blue is barely associated with her eyes. The purple is being associated with the gray pillow there. And same thing there. So now if I do this, we have an image that works in color, but again, I don't really feel like the color here is very important, or there's anything that's very kind of punching out at you. But in black and white, it's all kind of monotone, and it's more effective. I'm actually much happier with it in black and white, otherwise. So let me take you through a couple of other photos then in that case. So I guess I'll go with this one. So let me reset this. So basically what I did were very minor edits, honestly, it seems, on this one. I was just trying to find a way to brighten the skin and kind of give more light coming in from the right-hand side, and to give more emphasis on her overall. So it seemed like what I did, and usually what I do with these sessions is I'll edit one photo and then I'll sync it to all the rest that are part of that session, so to speak. Let's take you to another photo in this series, though. So let me say this one. I think that I didn't really do a whole lot to that one. Yeah, I didn't really do a whole lot to that one either. But when I do this, everything's brighter. You get more detail on her skin. The background there, let me go back to this. Let me go back to resetting this. So if I reset this, okay, so you get a little more detail in the background, but this doesn't really need to be in HDR. It just needs to make her look good. So if I do that, then that extraneous detail in the background is kind of taken out. And if anything, you could complain about the fact that I kind of cut off her elbow there, but that's not really a problem to me. I guess that one you may like a little bit more, but I kind of like that expression a little bit more, that angle a little bit more, than I do like that one. So let me look through these images again. I think that this was Yeah, okay. So let me go through and edit this one. This was the original RAW that came out of the D810. So when I'm going to edit this, I'm going to say diffraction correction. I'm going to make sure the sharpness from the lens is going to be there. And let's think about these things. So I usually work with a film curve of some sort. I usually like extra shadow because it gives me a flatter profile. But then in addition to that too, when I edit, I usually either go to 5500 daylight or 3200. And right now in 5500, she gets warmer skin tones, but at the same time, she's also kind of blending into the background. So that's kind of a problem that I'm going to need to figure out. Let me crop this first. So I like an unconstrained crop. I'm going to come in kind of like that. Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. Just like so. Yeah, and take a look at the lines. So you'll see what I'm doing, and then I come in, and I say, okay, I want to work with that. So now what I can do is I can work with the shadows and say maybe I want those to be a little more blue, or maybe, actually that's pretty cool. That's almost Polaroid-like looking. And let me make the midtones a little warmer. And notice how it's very subtle. Let me make the highlights a little warmer. Okay, cool. So now if I brighten the shadows, no, I don't want to do that actually. But if I brighten the midtones, that's not bad. If I brighten the highlights, that's not bad either. So now, okay, I've got that. Now I want to work with individual colors, and I want to see what's going on. So I'm going to choose this color, and now we get a little bit from her skin. And now we kind of have a little bit more of a separation between her skin, the hair, and the background. So let's see what will happen if I shift the hue this way. Then she becomes greener this way, and she becomes more red that way. Do I like that, though? Yes, I do. So I'm going to keep that. And what I'm also going to do is probably brighten that up a bit. The blue, or the green rather, there is no green in the scene, obviously. Blue, there is some blue, and I don't know why it's not appearing on her. Purple, it's not appearing on her either, and same with that purple. So basically the colors that we're working with are really just around here. So if I do this, I can make this smoother and kind of blending into one another. And then I can say, hey, this or this. Let's see how this looks. If I do that, but if I do this instead, she's more red. If I do this instead, she's more kind of neutral. That's not bad. I guess I'll work with that. Now let me make this more contrasty. And let me also expose this, raise the exposure up quite a bit. Yeah, I do like that. I usually like to work with the natural punch, natural clarity rather. Capture One has a number of options. They have classic, they have neutral. I guess I'll work with classic in this case. Yeah, and there's a little bit of change there. If I nerf the highlights, I get a little bit more detail back on her. And I guess that works. And then I can increase the sharpness. And now I'll do that. So this is my edit right now. This was the original. And I don't like the original very much, but I do like my edit. And I think that that works. Let me show you another photo. Let's see, what did I do here? Did I do quite a bit here? I think I did. Yeah, I did. So this was the original photo, and what I did was I cropped in quite a bit, and I applied a preset, just because I like the look of it. Let me show you these. These were actually pretty difficult to work with. So the reason why I wanted to go for black and white is because I actually have a old Audrey Hepburn poster in my apartment, or at least I used to. I don't really have it anymore. I have other artwork instead. So I wanted to kind of emulate a look that she would have had. So I was working with Grace to do that. So let's look at what the original looked like, which was actually pretty awful. So the reason why I don't really like this is because she's blending into the background with the door a little bit too much there. And when I make it black and white, actually I really like working with black and white, typically. She kind of steps out more from the doorway. And let me show you what happens when I take this out of black and white. She, again, is blending into the doorway, and that's really tough to do. And, I mean, in a situation like this, what I would have said now is I would have actually just moved her away from that because her skin is kind of blending in. I usually go with Steve McCurdy's rules of portraiture, where there are 3 distinct colors. There is the skin tone, there's the background, and there's whatever they're wearing. But if I enable this in black and white, then she stands out a lot from the background. And people really shouldn't fear black and white. There's nothing wrong with working in black and white at all. It can be really nice. And now when I mess around with the color channels, I can make her kind of stand out even more. And heck, I could even find a way to crop in even more right now. So if I were to do the crop, come on. No, I don't want that, I want square. Is that square? No, that isn't square. I want a square crop. Anyway, let's just work with it. Let's say I want to do that. Okay, cool. So now I'm in closer, and then from here I want to say, yeah. I'll say I'll do that. Let's say right there. I kind of like to give my subjects a little bit of extra headroom. And then when I go like this, crop in quite heavily, and that's even better. It looks like she has a dress on. It just looks better. I think it works. You can make a strong argument for the other photo, but yeah. Either way, folks. And then what I would do is I would just go in and I'd kind of sync the edits again. So that's what I've been doing with the ReEdit series. I'll be working and doing a lot more of these in the future. If you want, I can even reach out to readers, and readers can submit their images, and I'll work on editing them and giving my feedback on them. But thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it, and have a good one.